Okay, so here is your warm-up for the week. Make sure you're working one day at a time and you're doing 3. Remember, if you do more than 3, you will get extra credits. So go ahead and pick the numbers you would like to complete and make sure that you complete it before Thursday, because that's when you're going to turn it in. On one side, you're going to show work. And then you're going to put my answer, correct answer. And then on the other side, you're going to go ahead and explain your mistake. Now remember, if you're doing these test corrections, then you're going to get a 70%. And if you do the homework and the exit ticket, you do well on that, they'll bring it up to 100. It could bring it up to 100. So make sure you're working on all of that I give you, because today's the last day we're doing fractions and decimals conversions, because we're going to start ordering and comparing rational numbers. So make sure you complete everything you need to complete. Okay, so today what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and review for our test. You do need to make sure that, not review for the test, review the test. But you do need another sheet of paper, and on that sheet of paper, you're going to go ahead and put in 2 columns. And let me show you what that looks like. So here's the first one. So change the fraction to a decimal. Remember, we talked about a scaling up, so you could scale up on this, and it's all you have to do is multiply it by 2, and this will give you 10, and this is 4. So when I say 4 over 10, it's 4/10. So all I have to do is write it as 4/10. And remember your place values, you have after the decimals, it's tens, and then it's hundreds, and then it's thousands. So make sure that you understand that, because that's going to be on your test. It's going to be continuing on your test, and with comparing and ordering rational numbers. Here's the second one, change the decimal to a fraction. Well, if you read it, that's in the 10th place, so it's going to be 6/10. Some of you did not simplify it, but I still went ahead and gave you credit for it. So you had to divide it by 2, and your answer is 3/5. So my answer should have been 3/5, and you got 10 points for that. Now here, what you needed to do, it says a meteorologist at a television station reported that a town received 95 hundredths inches of rain. Which fraction is equivalent to the amount of rain in inches? So if you have 95 hundredths, I'm going to go ahead and shade this in to show me 95 hundredths. And then if you think about it, if it's going to be 95 hundredths, it's 95 over 100. That gave you 5 points already. And then when you simplify, if you simplify it by 5, it's going to give you 19 over 20. So your answer should have been letter C. So that would have given you the other 5 points. Now, a lot of you got this one incorrect, because some of you were subtracting and then converting that into decimal. Actually, this one and the next one, you really don't need to subtract. It's telling you 24 out of 30 days. So 24 out of 30 means it's a fraction. When it says of the or out of, that's the same thing. So all you have to do is 24 of the 30. So that means that's a fraction. So you would have gotten 5 points with that. You set this up correctly, so that's another 5 points. Then you were supposed to simplify. Now if I simplify by 3, this gives me 8 over 10. And if you notice, it has the tens place. So all the tens place there, and all I have to do is write it as 8/10. So your answer is 8/10. Some of you could have divided it. If you divided it by 30, all you have to do is add a decimal and zeros. So I cross out the zeros, 3 into 24 is going to give you 8. And that's how we were supposed to do this problem. Now here's the one that a lot of you did the same thing. You subtracted to show the decimal, so most of you should have just put it as a fraction. Again, 13 of the 20. Of them means that it's a fraction. So when you do 13 of the 20, then all you had to do was scale up. So 20 times something will give you. So some of you did show this where you shaded in 13, but you were supposed to shade in for every 20. If you did that correctly, then you would have gotten the correct answer. Some of you didn't shade in, and that's fine. I didn't take away points, even though it asked you for the model. But if you multiply it by 5, so just setting up 13 over 20 gives you 5 points. If you did the model, that gives you another 5 points. If you multiply by 5, that's going to give you 65 hundredths. And if you write it as a decimal, 65 hundredths. So your answer is letter D. Okay, so this one's the one that a lot of students got confused. So it's showing you a table. It's telling you what they voted for. I went ahead and put the numbers. What some of you did not do and missed it altogether was writing fractions and decimals for each of them. Now, the answer is, you could just look at it, and the answer to the question is given to you, and that wasn't the most important. As you notice, it was only 5 points. So yes, the answer was swimming. Oops. But that wasn't the important part. If you notice, you had to write out a plan. Some of you just wrote it in numbers, and that's fine. I went ahead and gave you that. You could have done a model or picture, and none of you did that, but I still gave you those points. The correct answer was there too. But if you did not write the process or the extension, actually the extension for this is writing the fractions and decimals for each of the teams, each of the sports. So what you needed to do, you needed to go ahead and put 56 over 200, 24 over 200. Then you do 80 out of 200, 18 out of 200, and then 22 out of 200. Now, because you wanted it to be 100, you could divide each of them by 2. So if you did that, divided by 2, divided by 2 on each one of them, then you could get your hundredths place. So in this case, all you had to do was put equal to 28 over 100 equals to 12 over 100 equals to 40 over 100 equals to 9 over 100. And then this equals to 11 over 100. Now, once you had that, then you could have written it as a decimal. So I'm going to go ahead and move this aside a little bit. And then this would have been 28 hundredths, 12 hundredths, 4 tenths or 40 hundredths. A lot of you made a mistake and put 9 tenths instead of 9 hundredths, and then 11 hundredths. So this is what I was looking for, and this is what I was looking for too. And if you went further, some of these would have been like 2800 would have been, that's divided by 4, 7 25ths, 3 25ths, 2 fifths, and those are the only ones that could have simplified further. So if you did all that, so basically all this is what I was looking for, not so much this, and then explaining what you did and your extension. This is basically your extension. So make sure you always follow directions, because some of you read this but didn't even bother because you thought, well, it's swimming. Swimming is the correct answer. That wasn't the important part. Always, always, always follow directions so you could get all the points you need. So make sure that next time you're doing something like this, you are doing what you're supposed to, following all the directions, and then making sure that you have all your points, because some of you didn't even try to do that. So make sure you do that. So what I want you to do now is go back and review all the problems and put down specifically what you did wrong. Please do not write IDK or I don't know or I made a mistake. No, I need to know exactly why you got it wrong. And I don't understand it and doesn't help, because I'm giving you how to do it, and that's the way that you need to go ahead and write statements on what to explain your mistakes. So make sure you're doing that. So I'm gonna show you what you're doing next. Okay, so here's your exit ticket. I'm gonna give it to you, so come and get the exit ticket from me when you're done watching the video. And here's your homework. This homework is based on review on what we just did. So if you get this all correct and you turn it in, you will get those extra points to give you 100 if you didn't pass. So make sure you're doing the test corrections, the exit ticket, and this review, because that's gonna give you 100. Make sure you turn it in as soon as possible. These test corrections are due by Thursday. Good luck.